In today's Leeds news, Gnonto offers arrives, Szmodics link emerges, Leeds eye Millar, and Dortmund interest in Gray re-emerges. Morning folks, Jay here, Monday morning 24th of June at The View, your Leeds United news. Hope you had a good weekend, hope everyone's in a better form. We're coming into a busier week. The players are expected back in Thorpe Arch towards the back end of this week, early next week for pre-season. Those players that are not currently on international duty, we will likely start to see some movement in the transfer market. We saw the exits of Jack Harrison last week. Mark Rocket expected to go any minute now, and Diego Llorente's situation likely to be sorted out in the coming days. Those sales or moves before the 30th of June PSR deadline are likely to keep the Wolves away from the door for Leeds for right now anyway, and then move into the middle part of the summer where Leeds will look to probably offload their bigger assets this summer. We'll get into some information around that, and we'll start off with the first one. That's the situation regarding Willie Gnonto. The summer is expected to have some big exits for Leeds. Two of those were expected to be Crescencio Summerville and Willie Gnonto, and although interest and offers for Crescencio Summerville have started to arrive, the situation on Willie Gnonto was a little bit quieter. That was until this morning. According to publication African Foot, they now claim that Nottingham Forest have made an official approach to Leeds United for winger Willie Gnonto. An offer of in and around £17 million is believed to have been submitted, and Leeds did want upwards of £25 million for the player last summer, rejecting offers from Everton up to the £25 million marker. Everton are unlikely to be a club that revisit Willie Gnonto this summer, with their situation having changed and moving on Jack Harrison, but Leeds will want more interest in Gnonto in an attempt to push his valuation a little bit higher and closer to the mark that they're interested in selling the player for. Gnonto himself is said to be very keen on a return to Serie A, although the finances in Serie A don't really open it up to a move unless it's a handful of clubs. Inter Milan rate Willie Gnonto at in and about £4 million, which is substantially less than where Leeds see it, and also substantially less than the initial Nottingham Forest offer that's claimed to have gone in is this time. So Leeds will likely hope that this interest, if it is legit, real interest, will kickstart other clubs into having a look at Willie Gnonto and seeing if it's a player that they would want to bring into their club this summer. The players are due back, as I said. This time last year we saw them come back. We saw a couple leave straight away, and then we saw the issues around Willie Gnonto's long-term future at Leeds come into question when the player went on strike last season. Whether that kind of incident re-emerges this year, he's under a new agency. It's unlikely that he will follow the same damaging pathway that he followed last year, but is expected to want to move away from Leeds United this summer, and Leeds will look to try and bring in as much money as they can for him and Chris Summerville, which will stop then any likelihood of Leeds having to sell any other players in the window and give Leeds some funds to reinvest. Players that could reinvest, there's a few names being linked this morning. The first one, and I will take this one with a very big pinch of salt for right now, but according to Sky Bet, Leeds United are amongst the favourites to move for Blackburn's attacking midfielder Szmodics. Although it's a very loose link, as it is a Sky Bet link, they claim that Leeds, Everton, West Ham and some sides in Turkey are said to be interested in bringing Szmodics in. Szmodics is expected to attract a huge amount of interest this summer and is a player that would definitely suit the Leeds United style of play and would give Leeds the goals and assists they're likely to lose if Crescencio Summerville was to move on this summer. A player that would help Leeds United to get what they need in those attacking areas coming into the summer. Good player, Szmodics, player I really like. He's plays for Ireland as well. Very exciting attacking player and can produce goals out of nothing as well as assists. So very good player if Leeds were to be interested in, but it is a Sky Bet link, and I would say right now I would temper expectations on that one and just hold fire on thinking Leeds are going out to Sammy Szmodics. It's a player that you would imagine Leeds will have a look at. Just the profile of the player, you'd imagine they'll have a look at him, but what he costs and what they can get him for and who else is interested will come into the equation as well. And then moving on to a stronger link this morning. This one is coming from The Athletic, and according to The Athletic, Leeds United are tracking Preston North End's on loan Canadian winger Liam Millar. Millar had 10 goal involvements in 35 championship games last season and had 2 standout games against Leeds United, the one in Deepdale being the obvious one of the two, where he gave Archie Gray a very tough day. Gave Gray a tough enough time at Elland Road as well, but lesser to a lesser degree, but he will be a player that will be very exciting. However, BBC did state last week that Sheffield United were close to agreeing a deal for Millar, but as of yet nothing has been formalised or signed. Millar was on loan at Preston last season from Swiss side FC Ball and is entering into the final year of his contract, so a cut price deal is likely to happen, whoever is interested in the player. Leeds will look to bring in more wide players, the likes of Jayden Anthony heading back to Bournemouth, and again the likes of Gnonto and Somerville likely to leave, will leave Leeds pretty light in the wide areas. So bringing a player in like Liam Millar, who can be quite direct, can also score goals and assists in a team surrounded by better players, would be a very good sign. I think a couple of people on this channel in the comment section last week said Millar was a player that they'd like to see Leeds look at and go after, but now according to Athletic, Leeds are very much keeping an eye on and looking at Liam Millar, so very much one to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks. But again, I don't think Leeds will do anything before the 30th of June deadline unless somebody else moves out before then. But I would expect in the next week or so you'll start to see things really kick into gear. But Millar will be a player that you could imagine Leeds would get on a relatively cheap deal. 10 goal involvements in 35 games at a side like Preston last season. If you were to put him in a Leeds side with more creative players, with better calibre players, you could see an awful lot more from him as well. And you get a good chance to look at him during the Copa America as well, as he will line out in Jesse Marsh's Canada side for their games. And then moving into the bigger story today, and came out pretty late this morning. This one relates to Archie Gray. According to this morning's article in German outlet Bild, Dortmund are said to have an interest in Archie Gray and are trying to lure the player to the Bundesliga. The report claims that Gray himself is said to be considering an approach from Dortmund as an option for him in his future. But Bill does state that Dortmund don't have any idea of what a valuation or an offer for the player could look like, and that could likely hamper any attempts that they likely will make to get in ahead of everybody else. Ben Jacobs said on the Just Joe football show earlier this month that those interested in a move for Archie Gray are minded that Leeds is the best place for the player right now in terms of his development, game time and minutes on the park, and that are likely to leave him stay there for now before anyone likely makes a move. Liverpool's chief scout has already said they have made contact with the Greys and have spoken to the family, and the Greys themselves are said to be very considered about their next move and will take their time before doing anything. Archie is not in a rush to move away from Leeds United just yet, but Dortmund do have a history of trying to bring in talented young players very early and then ultimately sell them on for a large profit. Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho and Jude Bellingham will be three names that just come to mind straight away. So Archie Gray could be the next one on that list as well, although right now it is very unlikely that Leeds would like to sell or let Archie Gray move away this summer, and as of right now no official bids for the player have been tabled, and as Bill says that the Bundesliga side Dortmund don't know what a valuation of Archie Gray would likely be before putting a bid in, so initial conversations between Leeds and Dortmund would need to open up so they could negotiate a fee before they then submit something, but it's unlikely. But an interesting piece of today, there's a lot of stuff starting to move around. The Liam Millar one is the interesting one for me, definitely a standard one. I'd love Sammy Szmodics, but I think Millar definitely probably fits the bill right now in terms of a good value deal and a sensible signing if they can get that one done. But Sammy Szmodics would be a nice exciting one. Willie Gnonto as well, Nottingham Forest interested in him. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Willie Gnonto's exit this summer, or likely exit this summer, or will he still be at Leeds come the beginning of the season, as well as what you think the situation around Archie Gray will be as well. And do you like the sounds of Liam Millar and Sammy Szmodics, and what reality do you think we're living in with those two players? Do you think they'll actually end up at Leeds or somewhere else? Let me know in the comments down below. That'll do it for me today, folks. A massive thanks as always for supporting the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you then. See ya.